Hey y'all, Curve21, back at you again with another Pokemon Go PvP video. In this video, we're taking a look at day number 2 of the Little Cup. And right now, we are still playing with our Mud Slap, Mud Bomb, and Rock Tomb Alolan Diglett, our Bronzor with the Confusion, Heavy Slam, and Psyshock, and Drifloon on the swap, Hex, Icy Wind, Shadow Ball. We're going to lead off into a poor matchup with Cottonee and immediately swap over to our Drifloon, and they bring in their own Drifloon. So, we are up 1 Hex, and this is where you can get very interesting matchups. We actually slipped in a free Hex right there while they were charging up their charge move. We now have 2 Hexes ahead of our opponent. They might be slipping in some while we are using our moves, but we can't see it as well as some other animations. So we're going to commit to 2 shields and just go straight for that Icy Wind to regain swap advantage. This way we can realign the Pokemon so our Diglett is not against that Cottonee, instead is against whatever's in their back. We have Bronzor to counter the Cottonee, and they're going to switch into their Bronzor, which is exactly what we want to see for our Alolan Diglett with its heavy ground type moves. We're going to be able to slap it on down, get a Mud Bomb off. Doesn't matter what charge move they throw, it's not going to KO us at this range. It does get us pretty close, but they only get in 1 charm, reducing the amount of energy gain for their Cottonee as much as possible. Because these Grass Knots do hurt a little bit for our Bronzor, but our Heavy Slam would have gotten them close to KO range. So we win game number 1. Even though we lost the lead, we were able to recover it because of our Drifloon winning that extra bit of energy, coming in first and being able to pick up that mirror match. So moving into game number 2, again, a bad lead, but they choose to stay in this time. They are not going to swap out into a Drifloon. They are going to stay in and eat this Icy Wind and charm us down, which, to their credit, was the correct way of playing that. We might have been able to win that switch advantage if we had gone for the Shadow Ball instead. But we're just going to go ahead, pick up 1 free bit of energy for our Bronzor, and here comes Wooper in the back while we have 2 steals. This is scary. Now, we're going to have to go for a lot of psychic pressure against this Wooper, and I'm contemplating shielding this Mud Bomb, but I feel like I need it to keep the Diglett alive later on in the match. So we're just going to keep on pressuring, and we throw this Heavy Slam, which, looking back on it, is probably a mistake. We need that energy to be going into the Wooper, and we should have just immediately swapped into our Alolan Diglett as soon as this Bronzor came out. But we were waiting for them to use up their energy because they got in a couple of extra confusions. We want to Mud Slap them as much as possible. If they were to have gotten maybe 2 back-to-back charge moves, our Diglett isn't getting any damage in. So he did his job. We got at least a couple of Mud Slaps in, and we are forced to shield this Mud Bomb from the Wooper and confusion it down. But they have so much energy gained up that they're able to knock us out. So well played to our opponent there. Another thing we could have possibly done differently is launching our energy from the Bronzor into that Wooper when we brought it in at the very end before they got off 2 Mud Bombs. That could have swung the matchup. So they are leading Wooper, and we're going to bring in our only counter, which is Drifloon, and they're going to incorrectly bring in a Bronzor, eating a big Shadow Ball. And we're going to be able to pick up the switch advantage here by just Ice Winding this down. Do they choose to shield it or not? They do. And that was our cheaper move. We're able to knock them out with Hexes if we just shield up this charge move. We're actually going to go for the Icy Wind just to be safe. They do have a lot of energy, and I don't want them to possibly regain switch advantage. They bring in their Wooper, and we should have been able to get off an Icy Wind, but just a little bit of lag there. They're able to Mud Bomb us out. So, Alolan Diglett is coming back in. We're going to play a different little matchup here as the last game, just to learn. That Mud Bomb hits hard against a very glassy steel type like a Dig. We bring in our Confusion using Bronzor here to try to farm down this Wooper, and we're not able to get the job done, eating 2 Mud Bombs yet again before facing a Cottonee, and at this point we're able to throw a Psyshock. We're going to need to get 3 of these in order to get the KO, but we instead go for the heavy slam to get as much damage as possible, and it's not enough. We're gonna need to get a Psy Shock, and that mistake costs us the game. Good game to our opponent. They played very well. Another mistake that we could have made was it looked like they got a free fast move in whenever we went for that Psy Shock from their Cottonee. So that could have also flipped the matchup, getting them that Seed Bomb at the very end. And we also feinted with a Mud Bomb on our alolan diglett, so that could have also helped out the matchup if we were able to get that off. But going into game number 4, they have a Why Not, and we safely swap into our Drifloon. They are not choosing to switch out until we throw the Icy Wind, and they thought they were going to be able to catch a Shadow Ball on their Dino, but they failed. And instead, they have to eat 2 Icy Winds on their shields, and we incorrectly shield a Body Slam, so good play to them. But we are going to be a little bit quicker with Hex generating so much energy to that last Icy Wind, and we have gained this switch advantage. I'm clicking both charge moves, and it ends up sending out Icy Wind. I was afraid we were going to get knocked out before we got to the Shadow Ball. A little bit of wasted energy there. And we're going to bring in this alolan diglett to pick up some good value against this Bronzor, and then launch our charge move into their Why Not, in order to try to just speed up this matchup so we're not sitting here forever with 2 psychic types hitting each other with steel moves or fighting moves. Why Not's mostly doing damage with that counter fast move, and we're mostly getting our damage from heavy slam. We are going to look to farm this Why Not down so that we have a little bit of energy moving into the mirror match. These mirror coats are not doing nearly enough damage in order to threaten our Bronzor in any way, shape, or form, and with the energy and HP lead, this matchup should be all but wrapped up. So, what happened in this game? They tried to catch a Shadow Ball on their Dino, and they failed to get it done. They had to shield up those Icy Winds or get knocked out, and it ended up going to 2 shields, and we ended up winning that switch advantage, lining up the Pokemon in a way that was more advantageous to our team. I did mess up a little bit throwing that Icy Wind into the Bronzor, but it did not end up making a big deal. Going into this 5th and final game, we have a strong lead where they might not expect it, and we are going to be able to throw off this Mud Bomb before they get to the crunch. They will shield, and this is more than likely a Body Slam, but we will shield it regardless because that Dragon Breath will KO us if we don't. It was the crunch, so good play by our opponent, pressured us very well there, but we're able to counter swap them with some very strong Pokemon in the back. Their Cottonee lines up against our Bronzor, their Bronzor against our Drifloon, and we're just going to go straight Shadow Ball because, again, if they don't shield an Icy Wind, we're in a tough spot. We can eat that Heavy Slam, but oof, faint right there with the energy for the Shadow Ball. That hurt. We could have definitely gotten a ton of value if we got half of their health down with that Shadow Ball. Even if we had gotten the Icy Wind, their Heavy Slams would be dealing a reduced amount of damage to our Bronzor. We would have had a lot of value. But it's okay. It's not the end of the world. They still have a Cottonee in the back, and we have Bronzor with more health and a shield. Can we outmaneuver their 2 Pokemon with a little bit less health, with a fully healthy Bronzor? That's the challenge here. We're going to go straight Heavy Slam because it does the most damage in the mirror, and then try to get as much energy as possible in case they were to switch in their Cottonee. We have more options, and we slip in that free confusion. Did you notice that? That's what happens when they try to use their charge move right after you, but they haven't clicked it just. And we got another one in. We slipped in 2 free confusions here in the end game, having to shield up that Seed Bomb or else they would have taken the game. We're able to launch this Heavy Slam, getting a ton of value on this Cottonee, farming it down with the confusion. We have our charge move. We're going to go for the Heavy Slam, and we pick up the win with the Bronzor, finishing it up. Such an amazing Pokemon. So we finished this set 3-2. We've learned a lot. We made a couple of mistakes, and so did our opponents, but we also both made amazing plays to create an entertaining set of 5 battles with one of my favorite Pokemon, alolan Diglett, and Drifloon in the back. It's been fun, and we've learned a lot. Hope to see you guys in the next video. Curb21 signing out.